According to the 2020 rankings, health and education data for 174 countries have been available, covering 98% of the world population up to the March 2020. And it provides a pre-pandemic baseline on the health and education for the children, with the biggest stride in the middle low income countries. What is the different data has given here with respect to the impact of the pandemic, all these things. These are with respect to the mains, not important for the prelims. We are covering only for the prelims. And India's performance, India score has been increased 0.49 from the 0.44 in 2008. As per the Human Capital Report Index published by the World Bank, last year India has raised serious reservations over the Human Capital Index, where India has ranked 115 out of 157 countries. This time, 116th position only among 174 countries. That's why it raised concern. Coming to the Human Capital Project, some of the basics is a part of the World Development Report published by the World Bank. It has been under this Human Capital Project, World Development Report of the World Bank. This SDP, Human Capital Project, has been launched. It is a claimed to be program of advocacy and measurement analytical work to raise the awareness to build the human capital. Three components of the Human Capital Project are a cross-country human capital measurement matrix called Human Capital Index. This is the what we are discussing. And a program measurement research to inform policy action. And third one is the program of support for the country strategies to accelerate investment in the human capital. That means this Human Capital Project broadly based on three components. The first one is the cross-country measurement of the human capital by using a report index called Human Capital Index. Second one is the program of measurement and research to inform on the policy action taken by the countries, and a program of support for various countries' strategies to accelerate investment in the human capital, thereby supporting some financial things, all these. These are the things with respect to the Human Capital Index. And next things, the reports published by the International Monetary Fund. There are two important reports. First one is the Global Financial Stability Report and the World Economic Outlook. First, we will say about the World Economic Outlook. This World Economic Outlook published by the International Monetary Fund. This year, it published title as Managing Divergent Recoveries. This is this year's report title. The report predicted GDP growth of India for the current fiscal year as 12.5%. This is 1% higher than the previous projection of 11.5% in the January 2021, but not now because of predictions of third wave and all these things. And coming to the state of the world economy, the global economy is grow by 6% in this year and expected to moderate at 4.4% in the 2022. And in 2020, the world economy contracted by 3.3%. According to the report, China has returned to the pre-COVID GDP in the 2020. However, many other are coming to the expected return till 2020. These are not important. Good recovery is expected in the North America, India, and China as well as, and UK, US are outperforming on the vaccine front. On the other hand, Asia is lagging with respect to the vaccine rollout. Economies that are dependent on the tourism have been badly hit. Examples, Spain. Apart from this, coming to the IMF, this IMF has been uh, set up in 1945 after the Second World War. Uh, it is governed and accountable to the 189 countries. India joined as a founding member of the IMF. Apart from the World Economic Outlook, it also publishes Global Financial Stability Report. Coming to the next report, that is the Global Financial Stability Report. As usual, it is published by the International Monetary Fund, and the salient features include Indian industrial sector is now among the most heavily indebted in the world in terms of public capital, cash flows, or repayments. The Indian banking sector, it as worse off compared to the other emerging economies. Uh, when banks are in poor health position, it does not affect the potential borrowers. There is a low growth in the bank's assets qualities and all these things. Financial intermediation, all these things. Private capital is rising. Way ahead, what is the way ahead, all these things. Not important. The only thing that we have to remember is who publishes this global economic prospects. That is the International Monetary Fund. And coming to the various reports published by the UN agencies. The first one is the Human Development Report, that is the HDR. It is published by the UNDP, Human Development Program. We already covered it. It takes various parameters for calculating the Human Development Report, including the years of schooling and per capita income, all these things. We discussed it as a contrast to the Human Capital Index. That's all. And this report, World Economic Situation and Prospects Report, it is published by the UNDESA and UNCTAD. And World Investment Report, it published by UNCTAD. And World Women's 2020 Trends and Statistic Report, it also published by UNDESA. These reports more important with respect to the mains than in the prelims, as a quote to the mains answer. And Global Education Monitoring Report published by UNESCO, and a Global Education Report for State of Education Report for India, again by the UNESCO. State of World Population Report by the World Population. That's fine. UN Fund for Population Fund. And Remote Learning Reachability Report by the UNICEF. This is important with respect to the COVID situation. And Children's Climate Risk Index. It is published jointly by the UNICEF and Fridays for Future, NGO. And most important thing here is the Multidimensional Poverty Index. It is published by the jointly UNDP and Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. Both these will publish. And coming to the various dimensions of this report, it will consider 3 dimensions. The multi-dimensional poverty report considers 3 dimensions. One is the education, that is the years of schooling and school attendance, the first dimension. Second is the health, child mortality and child nutrition. Third one is the standard of living with respect to the electricity and housing, drinking water, sanitation, cooking fuel, assets. That's why it calculating different standards of the living by calculating their education, health, and the standard of living. This is with respect to the multidimensional poverty index. And state of world's forest, FAO, that is the Food and Agriculture Organization. State of food security and nutrition in the world 2020. It is jointly published by the FAO, IFAD, UNICEF, World Food Program, and World Health Organization. The 4 parameters includes for this state of food security and nutrition are affordability, availability, quality, and the safety. Let's see one by one important things. Multidimensional poverty index. It is jointly published by the UNDP and OPH. Three dimensions: education, health, and standard of living. Apart from this, nothing is important here. And coming to the World Economic Situation Prospects Report, just remember it is published by UNDESA and UNITED. That's all. Nothing is important. Coming to the World Investment Report, let's see at it. What are the some key points? This World Investment Report 2021 has been published recently by the UN Conference on the Trade and Development. That is the UNITED. Full form of the UNITED is UN Conference on Trade and Development. Conference on Trade and Development. As per the report, global FDI flows have been severely hit by the COVID-19. We all know it. FDI flow has been decreased 35% in the 2020 to US dollar 1 trillion to the US dollar 1.5 trillion in 2019. That means in 2019 the FDI flow is 1.5 trillion dollar, and now it is just 1 trillion dollar. That is $500 billion has been decreased due to the COVID-19. The lockdowns across the world has slowed down the existing investment of projects and different prospects with regard to the multinational enterprises to start new projects. All these things have been hit by the COVID-19. Coming to the apart from all these things, India has received US $64 billion in the FDI in 2020, and India now emerged as the fifth largest recipient of the foreign direct investment inflows across the world. This is really a most welcome step to the India. Coming to the study on the India, FDI has increased 27%. That is the US $64 billion in the 2020, and FDI increased by acquisitions in information and communication technology, the first one, and second one is the majorly by the ICT, and demand on the digital infrastructure and service globally is another increase of the FDI, and higher values in the greenfield FDI project in the ICT industry increased more than 22%. Report highlights second COVID-19 wave. India impacted countries' overall economic activities due to the second COVID wave. India has been ranked 18 among the world's top 20 economies for the FDI flows. The report further highlights investment from India will stabilize in the 2021 and support of the country's resumption for the free trade agreement talks with the European Union in order to promote the free trade between the EU and the India, and also Africa and the EU. Africa and India. This is the overall report of the World Investment Report 2021 published by the UNITED, that is the UN Conference on Trade and Development. And the next thing, that is the Global Education Monitoring Report, that is the GEM report, and it is actually published by the UNESCO. And it is in line in mandate with the 2020. The report assesses progress towards Sustainable Development Goal 4 on education and its 10 targets. SDGs. Coming to the SDGs, the fourth SDG says about the education and its targets. To progress towards, it assesses this 2020 report mainly assesses Sustainable Development Goal 4 and its 10 targets, as well as other related education targets in the SDG agenda. Coming to the COVID-19 pandemic, it has exacerbated inequalities in the education system across the world. About 40% of the low and lower middle income countries have not supported learners at the risk of exclusion during this crisis, such as poor and linguistic minorities. Efforts to maintain Learning continuity during the pandemic may have actually worsened exclusion trends. During the height of school closures in the April 2020, almost 91% of the students around the world were out of the school. And coming to the other things, issues with the alternatives, distance learning solutions have been alternatives, but many poorer countries opted by the radio and television lessons. 55% of the low income and 73% of the lower middle income and 93% of the upper middle income countries adapted to the online learning platforms for the primary and secondary education. As usual, there is a technology and digital divide. Acts as the limitation for this approach. Not all students, teachers have access to adequate internet connection due to the remote area location of their residence and lack of equipment and skills and working to work on that technology and school closures also interrupted support mechanisms. All these things published by this report. Apart from this, what is important means cancellation of exams. All these things has been affected. This is all about the global education monitoring report. Next chapter, that is the remote learning reachability report. As usually, they published by the UNICEF and expressed concerns over the children from economically disadvantaged families struggling with access to the remote learning due to the pandemic. Just 24% of the Indian households have access to the internet connections for the e-education. There is a large rural, urban, and gender divide that widen the learning gap across high and middle low income families according to the this UNICEF report. These are the things important with respect to here what we have to report remember is remote learning reachability report published by UNICEF. That's all. Next report is the Children's Climate Risk Index. It is jointly published by the UNICEF and the NGO, that is Fridays Future. The report, it has been recently introduced and CCRI, that is the climate crisis, this index, CCRI, Children's Climate Risk Index, is first focused on the report Children by the UNICEF. The index ranks countries on the basis of children's exposure to the climate and environment shocks like cyclones and heat waves, and including vulnerability to these shocks on the basis of the access to the essential services. There is high risk in India. Index placed India among the 33 extremely high risk countries where flooding and air pollution and repeated environment shocks has been taken place. Among these 33 extremely high risk countries, India also is there. According to the CCRI report published by UNICEF and Fridays for Future NGO. Apart from this, what are important is and other key findings include South Asian, among South Asian countries, India is at most risk. It is affecting health, education, and protection. Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and India, the 4 South Asian countries where children are extremely high risk through these environmental shocks. Pakistan ranked at 14th position, and Bangladesh 15th most, and Afghanistan 25th, and India 26th most affected. And Nepal is 51st, and Sri Lanka 61st, and Bhutan at 111. And these countries are advancing in the risk bracket. About 1 billion children live in 33 countries are classified as extremely high risk. Among these 33 countries, India is also there. More than 600 million Indians have faced acute water shortages, uh, may face, will face in the upcoming years. At the same time, flash flooding will increase significantly in India's urban areas once the global temperature increases to 2 degrees Celsius than the existing. Further, 21 of the world's 30 cities with the most polluted air were present in India. That is the highest risk factor. That means among the topmost polluted cities of the world, 30 topmost polluted cities, 21 are in India. This is the biggest danger for the India. This is all about the report. So here, just a minute. Recently, UNEP and the FAO, both the institutions jointly published a report titled State of World's Forest 2020. According to the report, forests provide 80% of the habitat for the amphibian species to live there, and 75% habitat for the bird species, and 68% for the mammal species, and 60% for all vascular plants found in the tropical forests. And forests provide more than 86 million green jobs and livelihoods for the 880 million people worldwide. Most of them are women comparatively. Forests supply water, mitigate climate change, and provide habitat for many pollinators, which are involved in the sustainable food production. What are the issues with regard to the state of world's forest report 2020 is world's total forest area is the 4.06 billion hectare, which was 31% of the total land area, and equivalent to 0.52 hectare per person. Among the world's regions, Africa has the largest annual rate of net forest loss. With regard to the net forest loss, Africa is losing at its highest, and then followed by South America at a rate of 2.6 million hectares. Here, 3.9 million hectares in Africa. On the other hand, Asia has the highest net gain of the forest area. There, net loss, here net gain, Asia, highest net gain, followed by the Oceania and the Europe. Net gains have been seen. However, both Europe and Asia recorded substantially lower rates of the net gain between the 2010 and 20 than the 2002-2010. Compared to the 2002-2010 decade, this decade has been seen somewhat lower increase in the growth. And apart from this, 54% of the world's forests were only in the 5 countries, including Russian Federation, Brazil, Canada, USA, and China. These are the 5 countries where 54% of the world forest has been occupied. Coming to the Russia, near to the Arctic, and there is a lot of growth. And coming to the Brazil, Amazon forest, Canada, also cool climate, and the US, it is rich in its habitat, and China also rich in its habitat of plants. And highest percent of plantation forests were seen in the South America, while as with respect to the plantation forests, Europe's are the lowest in the world. Fire is prevalent, which acts as a forest disturbance, that is the forest fires in the tropics, and fire burned about 4% of the total forest area in the tropics. Total carbon stock in the forest have decreased 668 gigatons in 1990 and 662 gigatons in 2020. And apart from this, there are a lot of suggestions. All these things have been provided. These are not important. Next article, Global Wage Report. It is a flagship report published by the International Labour Organization. Very important. It analyzes recent trends in the wages across the world. According to the report, Global Wages Report 2020 and 21, wages and minimum wages in the times of COVID-19. Indian workers among the most overworked across the world, but in the lowest minimum statutory wage in the region after Bangladesh. According to the report, well-paid workers work more and urban salaries workers work more than the rural counter. This is the findings of the report. This is the last article with respect to this video, and we will see other reports and indexes in the next part of the video. Thank you.